All right. Second time's a charm. All righty. Here we go. A little more limits before we get to continuity. All right. Excuse me. Now, algebraic limits. What we do is we just put this number in and see what the answer is, and that's the answer. It's back to algebra 1 again, for a few of these. So we just stick the 1 in wherever there's an x and see what it equals. So we get 5 minus 6 plus 2 minus 1. So it's negative 1 plus 2 minus 1 is 0. Okay? If we stick in a 3, we get 9 minus 4 over 11 minus 6, which is 5 over 5, which is 1. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Until we get to this. What's negative 3 plus 3? 0. And everything is fine and dandy in the world until someone decides to divide by 0. Okay? So this does not exist. So the limit does not exist. Okay? So if we put in a negative 1 here, what do we get? Do we get the limit does not exist? No, because negative 1 squared is 1. Negative 1 squared is 1, so it's 1 minus 9 over 1 plus 1, which is negative 7. Whoa. Negative 8, Mr. Bierschbach, over 2, which is negative 4. Trig. You guys get to remember trig in here. And you get to remember your unit circle. All of you have it memorized, right? No. Well, guess what? This year, you're going to have to know the unit circle for the AP Calc test. Okay? So you're going to have to basically know what the sine, cosine, tangent of those various things are. So, and we'll do quite a bit of it, so you'll hopefully have a better idea. But what is the sine of pi over 6? Well, if you think of pi over 6, it's a 30-degree angle here. Okay? So since it's a 30-degree angle, sine is over here. So this is 1/2, and this is square root of 3 over 2. The short part is half of a 30, 60, 90. The long part is square root of 3 over 2, and the hypotenuse is 1. So sine is that, so it is 1/2. Tangent of negative pi over 2, well, pi over 2 is up here. That's a 90-degree angle. So negative pi over 2 would be down here, which is the point 0, negative 1. So to find tangent, tangent is sine over cosine. What do we know about that? The limit does not exist. Okay, so you'll have trig. So maybe today on your computers, you might have to look up the unit circle. Or your calculators might be able to take care of it. But when you type this into your calculator, like the sine of pi over 6, you'll have to put it in radian mode. And then you'll type sine, and then it's parentheses of pi divided by 6, parentheses. And it should give you 0.5 as an answer. Okay? Cotangent of pi over 6. I don't think there's a cotangent button on your calculator, is there? No. But cotangent is 1 over tangent. So, but if we just draw out the triangle for pi over 6, pi over 6 is a 30-degree angle. This is 1/2. This is square root of 3 over 2. This is 1. So cotangent is cosine over sine. So it's the adjacent over the the opposite. So it's the square root of 3 over 2 over 1/2. Well, the 2's cancel, so it's just square root of 3. Or you could type it into your calculator, but it's not going to give you square root of 3. It's going to give you a decimal, and then you have to search of which of these answers equals that decimal. So if you know your unit circle, it just helps you that much more. Okay. Anybody know what the special name for these functions are that look like this? Well, they're called piecewise functions. So piecewise functions will have multiple parts. This tells you the domain. This tells you the range. So you look at this, and then that'll tell you where you're at after that. So if we would graph this, it would be the sine curve from -8 up until 0. Oops, that's not quite right. Let me draw it backwards. So here's like -8 up to 0. And then from 0 to 10, it would be 1/5 x. Okay? So this part of the curve goes from -8 to 0. This part of the curve goes from 0 to 10. Okay, that's what a piecewise function is. So what is the limit as x approaches -5? Well, -5 is in this ballpark, right? So then we put -5 in there. So it's the sine of -5 pi. Well, think of the unit circle. -1 pi is right there. -2 pi is right there. -3 pi is right there. -4 pi is right there. So -5 pi is right there, right where pi would be. Okay, coterminal angles. That was our very first day of trig. Okay, so what is the ordered pair at pi? Well, it's -1, 0. What's the sine of that? Well, the sine of that is the y value, which is 0. Okay, so you will have to remember your trig in here. And last year we had somebody in here who never took trig, and that's a prerequisite of the class, and they were lost anytime we did anything trig. So it's good you all took trig, and you all remember your trig perfectly. All right. Where's -3 in this whole spectrum? Where is -3? Well, since it's a limit, and this divides at -3, you have to figure it out for both of them. Okay? So, from -7 to -3, if we put in a -3 here, we get the square root of 4, which is 2. If we put in -7, it's 0. So this function goes like this. From -7 up to -3, it goes like this. But this is the point we're concerned about. And then if we put -3 into here, what's -3 squared? 9 minus 5 is 4. So this is 4. This is 2. And this is 4. And x squared minus 5. So then if we put in a 0, we're at -5. So this function goes down like this. Like this. Okay, this is the piecewise function. Now, what's the limit as we approach -3? Well, from this side it approaches 2. From this side it approaches 4. So what do we know about that limit? The limit does not exist because there's a jump discontinuity there. It jumps from here up to here. The limit does not exist. Okay? Piecewise functions. They're they make you think a little bit more. Okay, this says, and I know it's hard to see, but this says you're going towards 3, from the left. Okay, 3 from the left. Which of these is 3 from the left? Top one or bottom one? 3 from the left. X squared plus 1. At 0, we'd be at -1. At 1, we'd be at 0. At 2, we'd be at 3. At 3, we'd be at 8. Okay. If we put in a 3 here, we're at 7. And 2x plus 1 would go up like that. So this one's going like this. So where are we? What's the limit as we approach 3 from the left? Well, it would be whatever the top one is, which would be 8, because we're coming from the left. So all you have to do is stick the 3 into that, and you're done. You don't even have to graph it or anything. You just have to understand, well, this is less than or equal to 3, so it's coming from the left. This is between 3 and 10. So if we're going towards 3, this would be coming from the right. All right, 4. Since there's no plus or minus above it, it's both of them. It's coming in both directions. So what's 2 to the 4th power up here? 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8 times 2 is 16. If we put a 4 in here, square root of 4 is 2. 2 times 8 is 16. From both of these, as they're going towards 4, they go to 16. Okay? So, piecewise functions and just plugging in limits. So you have like, I think 4 assignments in there. Plus we'll have a quiz.